longer unusual to us. In the 4.8, right, that is also the outcome of the poll on the scientific journal comprehension performed by our group. Let me show you. Okay. This is the survey of over 100% of all ages and major, up to the 63.8% people are aware of and have knowledge of scientific publications through the various sources, the majorities of which are social networks. Typically, you will be interested in very article related to your field of expertise, and 68% of us have the ability to spend time reading or investigating scientific journals, and up to 72% of us understand the importance of the scientific publication. So, in order to learn more about this fascinating subject, I am delighted to be here to tell you about the scientific journals as well as the concerns linked to them. My presentation is divided into 3 parts. One is theoretical pages on the Science magazine. Second is the issue related, and then we will draw conclusions about our topic. First of all, I would like to give you an overview of scientific journals. We will together find the answer to the question, what is the scientific journals? So a scientific journal, commonly known as an academic journal or peer-reviewed journal, is a read article journal which articles are published by experts in a particular field of study. Articles in scientific journals are often much more complex and structured than articles in general magazine. Readers of scientific journals are often also experts, scholars, or students in the relevant field. And how about classification of scientific journals? There are 2 prestigious classification groups recognized by scientific community around the world. Classification according to Institute of Scientific Information, also called ISI, and according to Scopus from Netherlands. Let's learn more about classification according to ISI. The American Institute for Scientific Information has rigorously and carefully selected the quality of the journals from around the world for inclusion in their database. Later, SCI expanded into a collection of SCIE Science Citation Index expanded with about 7,000 journals. Currently, ISI is classified with more than 1,200 journals since 1975 now. There are 2 groups of the journal recognized with the British Scientific Citation Index. The first group is SSCI, Social Science Citation Index, and the second group is SCIE, stand for Science Citation Index Expanded. Let's move on to science classification according to Scopus. Scopus was built in November 2004 and is owned by Elsevier, published in Netherlands for online subscriber. Is a database containing abstracts and citation of scientific articles. Vietnam has only one Vietnam Mathematical Institute shortlisted for Scopus. Scopus measures have been used by SciMago to evaluate and rank scientific journals and scientific research institutions. According to the data, our more than 2,800 strong research institutes, Vietnam Institute of Science and Technology, Vietnam National University, and Hanoi National University. Now, turning to characteristics of a scientific journal, articles in scientific journals are mostly written by active scientists such as students, researchers, professors, rather than the professional journalists. Most journals are highly specialized. The issues of the scientific journals are rarely read by chance, as one would read a journal. The publication of research results in an essential part of the scientific method. A scientific journal typically has the following members and committees: the editor-in-chief, the managing director, and the advisory board. Usually, each article will be assigned a permanent identifier, DOI, stand for digital object identifiers. These online republished articles will be scheduled for inclusion in the appropriate issue of the journal. Now we'll come to the next point, which is the role of the journal for researcher. The importance of the journal science goes beyond providing a means of communication and permanent record. Scientific journals are the final output of most research, as they compete for papers. Their identity serves as the process for the research published there, and its significance. Authors may publish for a variety of the reasons, and the type of article can vary substantially. A journal is often perceived to comprise research articles, but there are a wide variety of articles that serve the purpose of communication and provide valuable information to the community. So let's turn to the Journal of International Science. There are millions of the scientific journals published around the world, each with their own reputation and quality. Until recently, the world has only had two screen systems, ISI and Scopus, which are the best classification. Only roughly 12,800 journals are included in the IF Index Statistics list. These journals are divided into 4 categories based on their IF, from high to low, and are referred to as Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 respectively. Each group had 3,200 journals, accounting for 25% of the total. Some of the world's most prestigious scientific magazines, the journals of the American Medical Association, also called JAMA, cover a wide range of medical issues, providing a professional with information important. Next is the Times Higher Education, also called THE, is a publication that focuses on news and topics concerning higher education. And CAA, Cancer Journal for Clinicians. Next, I will consider about journals of national scope. Since 2014, the number of international ISI Scopus articles published in Vietnam has climbed by 30 and 40% per year on average, in which higher education institutions account for nearly 94% of all published articles. So the top 4 universities with the most foreign publication are the Journal of the Science, Advanced Materials and Devices of Hanoi National University, Advanced in Natural Sciences, Nanoscience, Nanotechnology of Vietnam Academic of Science and Technology. This is our neighborhood. On Journal of Economics and Development of National Economics University. So, Journal of Advanced Engineering and Computation of TP.HCM University, Vietnam's worldwide publishing has recently passed higher education institutions. On the other hand, have systems in place to stimulate and support research funding as well as research. Of the influence index of more than 80 Vietnamese scientific journals. This is the result announced by the system Vietnam Citation Gateway by Professor Nguyễn. Accordingly, the Journal of Science, Advanced Materials and Devices of Vietnam National University, Hanoi, has the highest impact index with 5.921. Professor Nguyễn said the quality of the journal is still inadequate, far from the final group of the Q4 international journals. Now I wanted to describe something to note. Publication in the most valuable journal. Currently, there are no statistics on the number of magazines and journals, estimated at millions and continuing to increase. Several scientific journals published misleading studies about the COVID-19 epidemic. There are scientific studies that are not always correct when writing a certain study. Poor methodological scientific studies and inaccurate findings are exacerbating the COVID-19 misinformation crisis, causing people to hesitate to get vaccinated. At the end of June, the medical journal Vaccine published a document entitled Safety of Vaccination. We should rethink this policy, where lockets such as the Lancet and the New England Journals of Medicine have had to withdraw research paper related to COVID-19 crisis. Now I will deal with scientific journal of our dear school, Banking University of Ho Chi Minh City. Our school is no less competitive, has many famous and well-known scientific journals, among which is magazine about Asian economics and banking, also called AJEB, is an open access international journal that publishes high-quality articles as well as the latest research on economics, especially in the fields of finance and banking. In particular, there are many posts over the years, such as impact of the monetary policy on financial market in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, and practical and evidence from Asian countries, the impact of the remittances on economic growth in Asian countries, and CPTPP, great opportunity for good trades of Vietnam's Canada in the new normal state. How about University of Technology and Education, our neighborhood, with the Journal of the Science and Engineering? After knowing the scientific journal quite well and knowing that this still has a shortcoming, I have a question: how to improve the quality of scientific journal? Currently, scientific journals are assessed using a variety of criteria, including their structure, editorial, bold composition, author teams at the publication. As a result, in order to increase the quality of Vietnamese journals in particular, it is necessary to focus on, first, journals should join the VCI, stand for Vietnam Citation Index System. Second, update the renewed journal in accordance with VCI guidelines. And finally, is a distinct English number for specialized. And so time to draw conclusion to understand more about the importance and significance of science journals. For many university, faculty, and student scientific journals are considered reliable publication for reference and study. For students, when they are observed and learn from professional in-depth research, it will contribute to creating clear thinking in the process and acquiring and applying their knowledge smoothly, more effectively. And we have something for you, that's some useful journals. First, we have is Science and Technology magazine. Is very useful for us. Journals of the Health Research and Development. And the finalists are Science and Technology magazine. Two, tools to measure the process of scientific journals are considered to be the most representative of global science in general and in each country in particular.
You have 3 more minutes, okay?
Okay, and for a competitive environment for researchers, the increased popularity scientific journal and the influence on reader researchers and scientists. But that is all about I want to say today. Before we finish in the representative, I would like to extend my best wishes to Mr. Dũng and all of you. And now we would love to hear the comments from Mr. Dũng and you. Thanks for listening.